Hey there, welcome back. So in our previous video we have talked about deadlocks and we have coded this program which is in front of us, and today in place of some random object which is used in our synchronized block, we will make use of reentrant lock, and we will also try to understand how reentrant lock can help us to prevent deadlock scenario. So let's get started. Alright, so now let me get rid of this synchronized blocks from the run methods real quick, and let me do the same with thread 2 as well. So now we don't have the synchronized block, and now these threads are pretty cool and standard. I guess by mistake I have removed one required statement as well. Let me fix that. So in here I will copy this statement and paste it once again, and it would be like lock on thread 1 on lock 1 and then lock 2. So now everything seems okay. Let me format things a little. Alright, so now the run methods are pretty simple and standard, where we simply have two statements, no rocket science, and there is no synchronized block. We have these two locks but we haven't used it yet, and if I execute the program, definitely we will able to see these 5 statements, which is not a big deal. Now finally let us make use of the locking mechanism. So in here we will type in lock1.lock. Then moving forward we will also unlock lock1. So I will type in lock1.unlock. Alright, and in between we will implement lock2 as well, so that we can reproduce the deadlock scenario. We want the intersection, right? So in here we will apply the lock on lock2, and then we will release the lock on lock2 first. So lock2.unlock. Alright, so pretty standard stuff, right? We will do the same with thread 2 as well. So in here we will type in lock1.lock, and we will unlock the lock1 as well, and in between, in order to generate the intersection, we will apply the lock on lock2, and then we will unlock lock2. Now friends, as of now we won't be able to get the intersection because the sequence are same. We will modify the sequence a little in order to regenerate the deadlock scenario. As if now if I execute the program should work properly and we are getting a proper output. But suppose we change the sequence a little. We apply the lock and unlock mechanism on lock2 first. Let me do this, and then on lock1. If the sequence is reversed, then there would be an intersection and we will get into a deadlock scenario, and here is the deadlock. Alright, so let me terminate the program. Now friends, if we check in here, the way we have coded and the way we have made use of this reentrant lock isn't that good, and as a result we have encountered into a deadlock situation. Now we can definitely get rid of the deadlock scenario using the reentrant lock by making use of a professional approach. So let us see how we can do that. So first of all we would require two boolean values. So let's do that, boolean, and the name of these variables would be flag lock1, and we will initialize these two variable using value false. Let me copy this particular line of code and paste it once again, and at this time we will rename a flag lock1 to flag lock2. Alright, so this looks good. Then moving forward we will have a try catch block. So in here we will add in a try block, and we won't have the catch block, rather we will have the finally block. Alright, so here we have the try and finally block. So inside our try block we will try to gain locks, and we will make use of not the lock method, rather we will make use of try lock method. And likewise inside this finally block we will try to unlock the locks. We will try to call the unlock method on locks, which is cool. But moving forward, when we make use of the try lock method, it's more like hit or miss scenario. We need to constantly try to gain the lock till the time we successfully gain locks on both the locks. Likewise, we will try to check whether we have successfully done all of our work, then only we will release both the locks. As a result, we will constantly try these scenario. And what is the perfect way of constantly retrying? Definitely so that we can retry a couple of times. Alright, so let's add in a loop, and in here we will make use of a infinite loop, and it would be a while loop, right? So it would be like while true. Let me add a brace in here and add a closing brace as well, and let me format this a little. Alright, so this looks good, and let me get rid of this locking and unlocking method calls. We don't require it as of now, and everything seems to be good enough. Alright, so there is some kind of error. We will fix it in couple of time. Alright, so now Eclipse is complaining about some things. Let me get rid of these two statements because these can confuse you a little. Alright, so now finally let's proceed further. Inside the run method there is no logic. There is an infinite loop, and inside the infinite loop there is try and finally block. No rocket science. Alright, so in here what we will do is we will type in flag lock1 equals lock1 dot try lock. We will do the same with lock2 as well. So we will type in flag lock2 equals lock2 dot try lock. But in here, when we check try lock, there are two versions. First version is simple call to try lock method, which will instantly check whether the lock could be applied or not, and if the lock is not applied, it will proceed further. The second version is where we can also acquire the lock, and we can also add a waiting time, which will definitely help us. Let me try to show you the documentation. So in here, if we check the documentation, then it will say acquires the lock if it is free within the given waiting time and the current thread has not been interrupted. So it will wait for some time, and in fact in our case it is better to make use of this particular try lock with timeout value. This will effectively improve the performance of our program. So let me make use of this. Now the waiting time would be a small amount of time. It would be like 10 and the unit would be like milliseconds. So let me type in milliseconds. Here we go. So which is cool. And what we will do is we will copy this particular part and we will paste it in here as well. Let me paste it, and in here it would be based on lock 1. Let me fix that. Now friends, as it throws an interrupted exception, we need to handle it, and we will hover upon these issues and we will select this option, add catch clause to the surrounding try. So that will add a catch block directly, which will get rid of the error. So this looks good. Now once we will try these re-entrant locks, either there could be three situations. Either we will able to apply the lock on lock 1, or we would be able to apply the lock on lock 2, or we would be able to apply the lock on both of these locks. So based on these three scenarios, we will code our finally block. So let's do that. So in here we will say if flag lock 1. So if flag lock 1 is true, then we will display a statement. This statement would be like a simple sysout statement. Let me copy this statement in order to save some time. So it would be like inside thread 1 on lock 1. Alright. Now friends, in here we won't be making use of else if statement. Take a note of it. So in here we will again make use of if, and this would be based on lock 2. And in here we will again print one statement, and this statement would be inside thread 1 on lock 2. Now once our work is done, definitely it would be good idea to unlock these threads, right? So we will type in lock1 dot unlock, and we will also unlock lock2 dot unlock. So this looks good. And finally, if both of these flags are true, this means that both of these flag has done its work. This means that it's time to break the loop. So in here it would be like flag lock 1 and flag lock2. If both of these conditions are true, then definitely we can break our loop. So this looks good. Definitely there is an issue in here, and we will discuss about this issue in couple of minutes. But first of all, let me copy this exact code and then paste it inside our thread 2. So here is our run method. Let me copy this and let me paste it in here. Here we go. Alright, and let me modify this a little. So in here, only thing which we need to change is inside thread 2 on lock1, inside thread 2 on lock2. So pretty cool and standard thing, and I should be able to start this program now, and it should work properly with some kind of a weird output. Let me show you. Here we go. So our program is working somehow, and it is not responding that good to start with, but later down the line we are able to see the proper output, and it is saying inside thread 2 on lock1, inside thread 2 on lock2, then inside thread 1 on lock1, inside thread 1 on lock2, and then finally inside main method, and the program got terminated properly. But if we try to run this couple of times, there could be some kind of issue as well. Alright, so now moving forward, let us do one small little thing. Let me get rid of these timeout values for the try lock method call, and then let me try to rerun this couple of times, because I know there is a possibility of something which can trouble us. So in here, let me get rid of this catch blocks as well. Alright, so this looks good to me, and let me rerun this program. Alright, so here is the issue. In here, when we are saying there is a repetitive output, so in here what it is showing, inside thread 1 on lock1, inside thread 1 on lock2, which is cool. But in here these two statements are repeated inside thread 2 on lock1, inside thread 2 on lock1. And the reason why we are getting this repeated output is because we are displaying these messages inside a loop, and there is multiple iteration going on when we have the lock1 and then we have the lock2. So in the case of thread 2 and thread 1, there could be scenario where we will have multiple iteration, and this time the iteration number count is way higher, right? So if I rerun this program, sometime it will give us weird output, sometime it will give us proper output, and the solution of this problem is to add on some additional flag. Let me show you how. Alright, so let us add in 2 more flags. These would be again boolean values only, and the name would be like done flag1 equals false, and let me copy this and paste it once again, and let me rename the variable name as done flag2. Now these done flag will notify us that whether we have already unlocked the lock on lock1 or lock2, and it will also notify us whether we should enter the if condition or not. So try to understand this. Alright, so in here we will check whether we have already gained the lock on lock1 or not. Moving forward, we need to also check whether we have already printed this statement on the console or not, and whether we have unlocked the lock already or not. In order to check that, in order to identify whether we have already done with these two statements or not, we would require a yet another flag. So how we will achieve that? Pretty simple. We will do this. We will add a AND operation, and we will say not equal to done flag. So if we are not done with printing out this statement and unlocking the lock, then definitely we will enter and we will print the statement and unlock the lock. We will do the same in here as well. So let me do that, and not done flag 2, and I guess that's it. Now same thing need to be done in thread 2 as well. So let me pause this video and do the same thing in thread 2 as well. Alright, so I have made the changes. Now there is a very important thing which we are missing. We need to mark this done flag as true once we enter this particular condition. So let's do that. That is something which we have forgot. So in here I will say done flag 1 equals true. We will do the same here as well. So we will say done flag 2 equals true. Let me do the same in here as well. Done flag 1 equals true. And finally done flag 2 equals. Alright, so now everything should work properly and we should able to give a proper result. Here is a minor issue. Let me fix that. So now everything is looking perfectly alright. Now let me execute the program. Here we go. So every time now when I execute this program, we will get a proper output, and somehow the Eclipse IDE is responding little slow. Alright, so let me execute this program, and this is working properly, but there could be a issue as well. Here we go. It is running properly, but sometime it can crash. And the reason, let me show you. In here we are making use of a while loop, and this is a infinite while loop, and in every iteration we will try to gain the control and we will call this try lock method. Now it may happen that because we are trying so many times, your application may crash. So again in here you can, for a precaution, apply a if condition as well. So here we go. There is some kind of crash which I was talking about. Let me show you how we can prevent this as well. First method or the first prevention is adding a time value so that we can slow down the while loop a little. And the second solution is making use of if condition again. Suppose we have already gained the lock, then we should not call the try lock method. So let me show you. So in here we will type in if the lock is not applied, then, so we will definitely make use of not flag lock 1. In that case we will try to gain the lock. So let me quickly make the changes. We will do the same with the flag lock 2 as well. Here we go. Let me format things a little, and here we have missed out the not symbol. Alright, and let me do the same changes in thread 2 as well. Alright, so now we have taken an additional precaution as well, and now this time way around our program should work properly. Here we go, and it is also responding fast. So this is cool, and this is a good idea of adding these kind of conditions as well, and our program is now giving us a consistent and a proper output. So this is how we can handle the deadlock scenario. Definitely deadlock scenario is something which is little complicated to identify and little complicated to rectify as well. Alright, so the bottom line is to try to identify the common entity, and whenever there is a common entity, there is a chance of intersection. Definitely take a precaution and make use of these kind of re-entrant lock and try to check things properly so that your application doesn't enter into a deadlock state. So that's it for today. Definitely the video length is high. Apology for that because the concept is slightly complicated to understand. Hope you guys understood the point, and if not, try to code this program by yourself. Try to understand how exactly the flow is working, and try to research more on internet. Even that will help you out. So thanks for watching. Take care.